We're live. Yes, we are, my people. Oh, God. My dad's reaction.
He's gone.
My dad's reaction says it all.
And I did say that, I said to Tristan last week, I said, Vieira won't be our manager at the end of this week.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah. So, there you go. So Vieira sacked today, and now it's who's our new manager. You know.
Yeah. There's something not right with that. Oh, now it's working. Flipping over as well.
Yeah, the double one.
No,
one.
Did I? Oh, yeah. Right, yeah. Always say, my people. Sorry for the shaky start. There may be a few problems right now. As you can see right now. Breaking news from this morning around 7 o'clock. I was working, so literally this is news to be kind of around now, later on this evening. Patrick Vieira has been sacked as Crystal Palace boss. Yes, as the Crystal Palace boss. He is gone. He's no longer the Palace manager, no longer in charge right now. Want to get your thoughts on it before I share mine, before we get the fans
on the cards, wasn't it? I mean, it was kept secret in football, wasn't it? I mean, to be honest with you, how he stayed in so long. As I say, if it had been the start of the season, he probably would have gone after 8 games, let alone how many's this one been going on for now?
What, 16?
Yeah, I mean, 16. Obviously the problem is now who we're going to bring in. We haven't got many games to turn it around. We're deep in it, to be honest with you, because someone's got to come in and pick the players up. We went to the Brighton game. Second half was just pathetic. I mean,
shambles were embarrassing.
The first half, the first 10, 15 minutes, I thought, blimey, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Crystal Palace were right up for it. I thought, blimey, I couldn't believe the start. And then they scored, and it was like, oh, right, okay, bye then. And second half performance, well, I think some of the players thought they did okay, because at the full-time whistle, the Palace fans weren't happy, and when the players sort of come over, and then they suddenly realised that how peeved we were.
Yeah,
they were like, I think I thought they were quite shocked. I think.
Well, they were shocked. They just stood there. I think
they were shocked at the reaction from the fans, because I think it was a mixture of another poor performance and the fact that the Palace fans at the moment are absolutely fed up.
They're toxic. This is the worst I've seen it for nearly 6 years. Probably the worst. This feels worse since for when 6 years ago Big Sam was in charge and we were playing crap and we were in the bottom.
It's worse. I think the other was when we lost 4-0 to Sunderland, but things weren't this bad. I mean, we just turned it around. And
I think it's because you've been in the Prem for 10 years and we haven't progressed and moved on. You compare us the likes of Fulham, Brighton, Brentford. I think
there's with a lot of the Palace fans, they're just absolutely fed up with everything at the moment.
I mean,
and it's just pretty. I don't know. It's like being in the middle of a perfect storm at the moment where Palace is concerned.
Well, what do you say to all the Palace fans who still want Vieira in? We're like, I'm so disappointed. I'm so depressed. For all you people wanting Vieira out, you're happy now.
Right? If you're doing something and it doesn't work, and your response is to do it again and it doesn't work, and then you do it again and it doesn't work, and then I'm sorry, but there comes a point where you've got to do something, if in anything you do in life. I mean, if you're constantly doing something wrong, then that's because you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
And you've got to try and do something right.
Yeah.
And I don't think Vieira had it in him to sort of turn things around.
We got a couple fans actually waiting to come on. We're going to add as many of you as we can. We're going to give you maybe about, let's say, 5-8 minutes for them to have their say. Yeah. I'm going to start off with Ken. Should be Ken, how are you, mate? You all right?
Yes, man. I'm doing fine. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. What are your thoughts of Vieira getting the sack, really, and who would you bring in?
For me, the problem I see with Crystal Palace right now is that the owners don't know what they're doing. I don't think they don't know what they're doing, and then the other problem is that Patrick Vieira was not given time and it wasn't backed properly, because even if you bring in a new manager today, nothing will happen. It will be the same. It's been the same since you came to the Premier League. The club don't the club don't back any managers you bring in there. Even if you bring in the best manager in the world right now, nothing will happen. It will be the same. It will be the same. Because
Well,
if Crystal Palace want to play Europa League, Conference League, then they need to get good players. They need to back the manager with the money. And
yeah,
I think, carry on.
but Crystal Palace, don't forget. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I think Vieira's got a bit of a case in the fact they didn't. He wasn't backed in the last transfer window. But to be honest with you, the team that we've got now is basically the same team we had last season, apart from Gallagher. And we did have a bad first start of the season. I mean, we 22 points at point 12. And he's got to a point where he's just sort of stopped winning games or stopped getting points. So you have no real option to get rid of him.
Yeah, exactly.
He stopped because the problem is Crystal Palace don't have no one that can score the goals. There's no strikers in there that can score the goal. Edward is crap. Matata is crap. How you is not good. There's no one there. The only one that can score is Zaha. But the problem now is teams know how Zaha play now. They're putting players on him. That's the problem now.
I mean, speaking of Wilson, that I mean, all they got to do is put like two or three blokes on him, and they just shut us out completely.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's why Crystal Palace are not doing good. Are not doing good. But for me, I think if they don't want to get relegated this season, they need to bring in a manager after the international break. If there's no manager there, there's something that's going to happen because Paddy McCarthy I don't see him as the right replacement for the club. I don't see him. I think they need to bring in someone. I think they need to bring in someone like Rafa Benitez that knows what he's doing.
Yeah, Ken, who would you bring in?
Yeah, someone like that would be good.
Who would you bring in as our next Palace manager?
If that was me now, I'll bring Rafa Benitez at the moment.
Rafa Benitez.
Yeah,
you hear that?
Yeah,
I mean, that's a shout. He's not any other club. He's got the Premiership experience. That's a good point. No,
but I don't think he's the right profile for the club.
We don't think so. You never know. He's got the Premiership experience.
Because today,
big clubs.
Yeah.
I don't think. But
because today, I'm hearing about Roy Hodgson, and I don't think that they should try Roy Hodgson again. Roy Hodgson should be a no-no. They should go for someone that is still young and is got more experience than Roy Hodgson. I wouldn't go for Roy Hodgson again.
Yeah. Well, Ken, thanks for your say. We're gonna try and invite some other people on, but I appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your comment, man. Yeah. Nice having you on. See you, mate. See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
See you. Bye. All right, we're gonna add another fan on. Hazard here. Shout out Hazard in that as well. Hazard, how are you, mate? You all right?
I'm good, thank you. Apart from Palace, feeling depressed about them.
Yeah.
But
I mean, what do you make of Patrick Vieira getting sacked, and who would you most likely bring in between now and the end of the season, or long term even as well, potentially?
First of all, I think it's the right decision. I know there's a lot of fans as well who are saying that it's the wrong decision.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's correct.
Same here.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think
I'm a bit surprised that they've let him go on this long. To be honest, I mean, what is it? Is it 14 games? Is it 30 games without a win?
One win is 16. Haven't won since December.
Yeah. No manager has had a run like that this long. No, Vieira's got the record now for staying as a manager with a run this long. I mean, normally,
The obvious thing is, I think any other club would probably sack them before, like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the way that they were looking at it, they didn't. There wasn't a natural manager out there to take over, and I think that's probably why he held his job.
There's a lot of managers out there now.
Yeah, they sort of is, but for the running that we need an experienced Premiership manager, somebody who knows straight off. He's got to hit the ground running. You know, he's got to hit the ground running because he's only got about 10 games to sort it out. So that's why I think it makes Roy the favourite because he knows he doesn't have to. He knows the players. He can just come in Yeah, there'll be lots of fans who won't be happy about that whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it's debatable. It's debatable whether the players will like it as well. I'm sure there's some players that wouldn't want Roy to come back. I don't know.
I think the only good thing about Roy is that he knows our club. He knows.
He does. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he's getting on a bit. He's managed to stuff. Remember when he was the manager, like the season before he left, and that things were just really stale. It was COVID. The football wasn't as attractive.
I think that if we can, if we get to a situation, if we just get like some boring wins, I don't care. You know what I mean? We're not in a position now where we just need the points.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Palace fans now, we don't care about the performances. We just need to win. Who cares if it's a scrappy 1-0 win or whatever? We just need to win a game to get everyone's confidence up a bit. Because we're in the middle of March now and we still haven't won a game yet, and it's so embarrassing.
Yeah. No,
shocking. I heard the stat the other day that I think only 3 clubs in the world haven't won a game in 2023 yet.
Yeah, you're right.
We're one of them.
That's a disgrace. That is absolutely shocking.
It is. It's just embarrassing. I just about got my shirt on tonight, to be honest with you.
How you both done that?
It was,
I can't even wear this season's kit anymore. I decided to go for a little lucky shirt. I mean, when I wear this on Sunday, we might start winning. You know what I mean?
we just need the managers to bring some pride back to the club.
Speaking of managers, Don Smith says, "Please tell me Pardew is coaching."
Oh no, Pardew won't. Pardew's not even on the horizon.
Hell no.
You know what I mean?
Hell
He's
no.
not going to come back.
Yeah, I mean, we got a comment from MP says, as long as we get someone in till the end of the season to keep us up and get a manager in the summer, providing we stay up. Yeah, that is a point. I mean, that's what we got to do. I think if we did get a manager, whether it would be long term, I'd probably say just till the end of the season, temporary.
I mean, would we?
Maybe that's the reason why Roy is most likely going to take over again for his second spot. Palace is probably going to be the end of the season.
Would we stick with Paddy McCarthy until the end of the season?
No,
he's not.
I suspect he probably doesn't want it either. But we need an experienced manager. Is he the under 21 manager, isn't he?
I believe so.
23 under 23.
I think under 21's one of the two.
At this point, you need somebody who knows what
the club and the Premier League,
and also who you need somebody about. Because Palace is quite a unique club in many respects, and you even the players and the managers, it's really got to fit the profile of the club, and I think that's probably why I suspect that Roy's probably going to get the job. I mean, there's no guarantees that he's going to turn it around because players that we got, unfortunately, I think the players we got can keep us up. But they got to be managed in a particular way and play in a certain way. Because the other thing as well, I think under Patrick Vieira, I don't think the players are as fit as they could be. I don't think they're as fit as they could be.
I mean, we've got the lowest run rate in the Premier League, so it should be.
I know. They don't. And the thing is when the first 15 minutes, if you watch the first 15 minutes of the Brighton game.
Yeah, we were starting well.
That first 10, 15 minutes of the Brighton game is how we need to play for 90 minutes for every game for the rest of the season. Okay, with that intensity. But I don't think.
Target.
Well, but I don't think. Gets the shots on target. But I don't think physically, some of our players can do that, and that's the issue that we've got. I mean, I can't see Eduardo doing that for 90 minutes. I can't. Eze had a poor game.
He was shocking when he came on.
All over the place.
Is that because he's not starting anymore though? Because he's been on the bench for the last.
I mean, I would say that as well, but I don't think he's fully fit. He looked out of shape. So. He looked out of place. He just looked lost. He just wasn't.
Elise, he's just
not been looking good.
I really can't see him. I mean, he's got to be put on the bench for a bit. I think because
not good enough.
If he's not going to be attacking and trying to score goals or make goals. Because he can't defend. He tries to defend sometimes, but sometimes he switches off. And so we've got lots of issues at the club. And I mean, I think the first game we've got to look at is the Leicester game. That for me is when our season starts. Is the Leicester game.
Yeah, I think we should call that a must-win. To be honest.
Well, it's
Well, we've got to get at least between now and the end of the season. We've got to get at least 5 wins from somewhere.
At least, yeah.
Honestly, what would you what tactically, and within the team, what really needs to change? Obviously, the goal scoring, but do you think we need a bit of like fresh spirit, a bit of spark?
We need to start getting a good performance, but every game.
Yeah.
We play like against Brighton, against City. An example, against City, we went 1-0 down, and then we start going forward in the 85th minute, and then that's when we start playing. We left it too late then. Against Brighton, we had a good first 10 minutes, then we just completely dropped off. We went 1-0 down, and our heads completely dropped, so we didn't do too much after that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like we go down, and the confidence is just gone. We went back to square one, back to where we played, back to how we played against Villa. Man City.
Even the if you ever in the couple of minutes to go, we intercepted the ball in the penalty box for Brighton. We almost got the equaliser, but the attempt on goal that we did once we was pathetic. I mean, it was the most pathetic attempt on goal. I'm thinking the goal is there gaping for you to put the ball in the net. And not only was it was missed by a country mile. Yeah, exactly. And there was just no conviction. It was just like rabbits in the headlight.
In the first half of this season, we were good. We were good at coming back from a goal down. We came back. We came back and down so many times. Yeah. West Ham away, we were 1-0 down. When we won. Leeds, Wolves at home. Wolves at home.
Villa as well. Aston Villa, that 3-1
win. 1-0 down
in 5 minutes, didn't we?
Exactly. Now, finally, before we add the next person on who's waiting behind the scenes in that here, who would you want to replace Patrick Vieira currently right now?
Who would I want?
Yeah, as the new Palace manager.
It's a tough question because I would like someone with Premier League experience. The last person said Benitez. He has got Premier League experience with Newcastle and that. Hassan Hurtel, he has Southampton. But we don't want to lose 9-0, so it's a tough one. But I would say Hassan Hurtel. I'd have to because he's the only one really that has been at a Premier League club quite recently, and I'm not sure why, to be honest, but I can't really think of anyone else because I know it will probably be Roy Hodgson, but I don't really want him.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the Roy decision about him coming back for a second spot.
The only positive is that he knows our club, and that's the only positive I can see from it.
But he hasn't been the Palace manager for 2 years, bear that in mind. A lot of things changed. Players haven't been managed under him. A lot of players have moved on. Players are a couple years older than they were originally when Roy was the manager a couple years ago. So we've got to put that into consideration. So if he came back, I mean, it feels like a downgrade. It feels like the club's just... It feels like a big sort of defeat for the club in some aspects. Roy Hodgson returning for a second spot. We got rid of him because the football was boring and we needed some new invention. We had that under Patrick Vieira for one season, and this season we just fallen off. And now Roy's coming back to the club. That says it all. Shows desperation.
I'm so surprised he's not retired yet. To be honest, he's what 76.
Well, he is. Now? He did retire after the Watford when he went to Watford, didn't he? Couldn't keep them up, but then I think it was more the fact the players there than anything else.
And the whole thing at the club.
And then he retired. But I'm sure he'll come back.
He was dreadful at Watford, wasn't he?
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, he had dreadful players, to be honest with him.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't have the players, I don't think.
We went there 1-4-1, didn't we? So.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Watford were rubbish last season, worse than we were now.
Terrible. They still somehow beat us in the cup, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they did in the League Cup last season. Brings back the memories. But anyway, Hazza, nice having you on, mate.
Yeah.
We're going to try and invite this other guy in the chat right now. Thanks for calling. And
Thank you.
I hope Palace improve, mate. Honestly, we need to see some positive.
I hope so. We just want to win.
Exactly.
Pleasure, man. Have a good night, man.
Take care.
See you later. You too, guys. Bye-bye.
We got another. Well, we do have a fans waiting, but he can't seem to connect in for some reason. We're going to answer a few questions. By the way, my people, as well. Where is it? There you go. The link is in the live chat to join. Call in. It's time for you to have your say. Oh, he's available now. So some guy called CPFC. How you doing? You all right?
You alright?
Yeah. Quick question. Well, a few questions. What are your thoughts on Patrick Vieira, and who would you bring in right now? Honestly.
So my thoughts are terrible. Like I was at Brighton yesterday. The problem with the team is no one can shoot. Edward could have scored that, but he didn't. We need a clinical striker that can actually score. That's our problem this year. We go 1-on-1 and we don't score it. And also on defence, the goals we concede, they're breakaways. Like yesterday against Brighton, Wednesday against Brighton, one little breakaway and they scored. Like Joe Whitworth played amazing.
Brighton didn't do a great deal. I know football-wise, they were the better team, I thought. You know, the way they transitioned up the pitch and defended as a team, they attacked as a team, and they were, you know, good in that respect. But with regard to chances, when you go through the game, I think it was probably sort of quite even. But, you know, I think football, they were sort of the better team. Yeah, I mean, you know, what did you think at the end of the game?
Yeah, the fans turned on the players.
Oh, I thought it's kind of a wake up because, as like me, I'll be honest, I weren't too happy after the game because realistically, I've been going every week and it's just declining.
Yeah,
and it's like I can't be asked if I'm going to spend all this money and you're not going to play for the shirt. And like Zaha especially, he lost the ball about 3 times and he was just moaning. Get on with the game and stop moaning. Same with Elise. He does the same thing. I don't know why they just don't get on with the game. They moan about it. And the player's already halfway down the pitch and he just stands there.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of times when we got to the last third and we lost the ball, I mean, it was just ridiculous.
I mean, our crossing. I mean, I don't know. Towards the end of the game, we had the ball. We kept on going backwards, and then we had a chance to whip it in. We whipped it in. The keeper came and caught it. No one near it. The fans were absolutely toxic. They got onto them players. They let the players know how useless.
How did you think the players were? Do you think? I thought the players were a little bit in shock at the end by the reaction of the Palace fans.
Same, yeah.
No, the only player on that pitch can be happier how he performed was Joe. He played amazing in goal.
Yeah,
he played amazing. He saved us so many times. I don't know what's happened with Anderson and Gay. They just haven't been connected recently. After the World Cup, they just stopped connecting.
That is true. Yeah, I think Anderson out of the two has been the better player. Mark Gay, he's blowing too much hot and cold. Joachim Anderson, he's showing a bit of passion. He's trying as best as he can, but he's just got crappy players around him who just aren't giving 100%. And they're the reason why we're in this mess, really. Yeah, I think part of it, you could blame the manager, and a part of it, you could blame the board for this mess. You know, financially behind the scenes, it hasn't been good. We didn't get the players in we needed to strengthen the squad in January, obviously in the summer as well, and we just had to stick with the players we got. And I just don't think they're genuine. I just don't think, you know, they're happy and motivated to be playing for Palace right now. After what you said about Gay and Anderson, especially after the World Cup.
It's more like the right back as well. Joel Ward and Nathaniel Klein are too old. And we talk about getting Wan Bissaka back. It's not going to happen. He won't want to come to a club that's probably on the brink of relegation. Like, if Roy comes in, I'll be very disappointed because
who would you like to come in?
Ralph, probably. Because he's probably the most experienced one out the lot on that list. And I do think he can keep us up. Roy won't. He just won't. The way he plays, it's just the way he plays football. If you like Watford, for instance, it's just like it's kind of like Vieira ball, like but way more defensive, and it was just really annoying to watch.
Someone says he'd bring Derry back. Oh my God. Losing Sean Derry Vieira and the Palace coaching staff over the last month.
I think Derry's a Palace guy. He's probably somebody you might want there at the club, but not as a manager.
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly.
I think if we go, as long as we get some wins, I don't care how dirty they are, you know. And if Roy can get us some wins, because the thing is that we don't. What Roy's good at is organising the team to, you know, get from A to B and play in a certain way, which is I don't think the fans of the players have got at the moment. Yeah. And the the biggest problem we've got at the moment is the players have got a total lack of confidence. I think in some respects their confidence is totally
when
shot.
It comes to shooting, attacking, passing, everything.
When it comes to the final third of the pitch, we're completely lost.
Yeah. So speaking before we invite, we got Max and Richard waiting in on the stream and that as well. Before we invite these lot on and that as well, speaking of Ralph Hasenhüttl, what would he bring to Crystal Palace? That would inspire you the most, and for you to say that you want him as the next Crystal Palace manager, mainly from your point of view.
The way he played with Southampton, when he was at Southampton that season, they were all dreadful for the first half of the season.
Yeah,
and he gave them the confidence to pick them up. See, if we put Roy in, I just don't think that'll happen. Like our team aren't. I feel like the thing with our team is the atmosphere's gone as well. It really has, in my opinion. 100%. Because I do think that's up to the board as well, because we want players in. I especially want players in. It's like they're not giving the money. Like Vieira Sacked, I don't know why that happened either. It wasn't even his fault. The players on the pitch didn't look like they want to play. We have a right back who's like over 32, and then it's just like lack of experience. We bring these new players like Husey and MacArthur weren't playing on Wednesday night, and I thought when those two come on the pitch, they really want it, and no one else does that. The pressure that everyone else brings is nothing like MacArthur and Husey. They don't pressure the ball. It does my head in, because just go towards them, pressure them a little bit, but no, they sit back and let them pass around for a couple of minutes, having a lot of Brian.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyways, man, nice having you on, mate. Hopefully we can talk to you some other time when we do one of these. So have a good one.
Take care.
And pray for Palace right now. We're going to invite a couple other people on and that from Eagle Eye Football, 2 special guests as well. So shout out CPFC here and that as well. You have a good one, man, as well. JC and Rich, let's get these two on right now. Oh, lads, things are just not looking good for this club. I mean, sacking Vieira, 1 win in 16, winless in 2023. Things have just gotten a whole lot worse, and the wheels have truly come off at this club, like I kind of predicted in December. I hate that I'm right, honestly. What do you make of Vieira getting sacked, my people, JC and Rich?
You know what? First things first. Listen, credit to you, because you've been calling it for time, and so is the dad as well. And like you said, you don't want to be right about these things and such. Yeah, the writing was definitely on the wall. I actually thought it might have been after Sunday, because I thought it would have been like the sentimental value to Arsenal and stuff, and just said, let him have that last hurrah sort of thing. But obviously, I got into work and my phone's just going ding, 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 ding. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And he's gone. Look, inevitably, it was the right decision. It hurts, because obviously you look at what he did last season. Absolutely, he then wasn't backed, and I feel like he had to adjust his style just because he wasn't backed. However, he did make some ludicrous decisions as the season went on and such, and that obviously played its part. Now, I think the thing I'm more worried about is the fact that Roy Hodgson's like front runner.
The funny thing is about that. The funny thing is, I was literally just waiting in like backstage on your fan call up you did on your channel. Big up to you lot as well for your channel, by the way. Subscribe to Eagle Eye Football, my people too. But I was just watching that, and when I think it was JC or you, I think one of you two was like, Sky has just confirmed that Roy Hodgson is potentially going to be the next Palace manager for a second spell. I thought you two were joking, and then I go on Sky and I'm like, oh my god, they're not joking. Everyone's talking about it. A Palace meltdown on Twitter, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, Holy Lord of Mercy.
We're still melting down now.
Oh my god!
You don't say better than you know, sort of thing. Like, but
who would you like to come in?
I'm a Poch fan.
Rich is deluded, man. There's no way.
No one.
Who realistically would you like to come in?
Hasenhüttl.
Yeah, that's a shout. I agree.
Because I'm trying to think. What I don't want is a manager who's just going to go at the end of the season. I just think that would be disruptive.
Yeah,
I'd rather us get a manager who can have these 10 games and then the summer, regardless of whether we're in the Premier League.
But if he was to get relegated, is he going to want to manage a club in the Championship.
That's the difficulty with it, and this is why I feel personally the timing was just off.
You think?
In a sense, like, especially since it's clear that the club have no plan. Like, if they had someone lined up already, fair enough. But we're scratching the bottom of the barrel, by the way.
We're desperate.
Yeah, exactly.
We're desperate.
You know? So there was no plan for it. They can't be. I'm hearing reports that they were talking about, was it last year, February? They were thinking about it. So surely there should have been a list of managers already to say, right, if things go wrong, boom, this one or that one.
Yeah.
You know,
the reaction.
We don't, because we're going back to Roy.
Going backwards. We've gone backwards.
Yeah, but the thing is, I suppose in some respects, I mean, you look at Roy and you're thinking, well, you know, if you need a manager come in that can hit the ground running, we got no time for, you know, whatever. During the international break, they got to come in there, get you know, the use to the players, and we've got to have experience. So, in some sense, it sort of makes a good move, but. And I must admit, I do not like managers going back to a club for a second time because it never works out.
Exactly.
I can't remember in my lifetime a manager who goes back to a club for the second time and it works out. It never does.
Yeah.
You know, it never does. But I mean, there were talks about. I mean, the ex-Leeds manager who got sacked. Well, no, the one that got sacked. I was joking, aren't you?
Jesse Marsh.
Jesse Marsh. I mean, some of the names I saw, I'm like, oh no, you're joking. You know, some of the managers' names that were put forward. But we're in a really difficult position. And for me, I think the Leicester game is. We've got to find at least 5 wins at the moment between now and the end of the season.
We're struggling to see one.
Yeah, I mean, we're even struggling to see a goal, let's face it. What are your views on the Brighton game? Did you see it at all?
Yeah. I'll let JC speak because I've been talking, sorry.
Boy, the Brighton game. Tristan said it to me first outside of Selhurst. I can't even remember what game it was.
What a 1-1.
It was before that. Tristan was standing there telling me in an interview, we're on a bad run, even though we're only about 5 games into that run, and you said that the Brighton game was going to be the one to turn it. And Tristan, you're so right, even though you don't want to be right. And I was sitting there laughing at you in my head. I was thinking, yo, why is this guy jumping to conclusions? But he's right. It was just a game of the first 15 minutes we played really well. I think we were the team on top. Looked good. We pressed. However, a simple through ball. Mitchell lets go of the man. Solly March runs in front of Gay. Gay doesn't really do everything to get in the way of it. Whitworth made some great saves, but he was slightly out of position. I think he was too far off to the right. Yeah. I think, unfortunately, Gaeta would have saved it.
Yeah, I think so as well.
It was a cheap goal to give away, but we fell apart. We absolutely fell apart, and there was no fight whatsoever in the whole match to bring it back. Chet Decore, you are an idiot. I have to say that. I think he is an absolute fool.
He should have been sent off again.
He should have been sent off.
He should have been sent off.
It's not that he should have been sent off. He definitely should have been sent off. Yeah. I mean, what's he thinking?
It's
ridiculous.
If I'm Brighton, I'm calling up everyone. I'm calling the FA. I'm calling the unions. I'm calling everyone. I'm calling up the VAR itself. I'm speaking to the computer and ChatGPT. I'm getting mad. But he should have been sent off, so he's a fool. So in my opinion, I think he should be dropped for the Arsenal game just because he hasn't learned his lesson whatsoever, because he's still a fool. He's just been stupid and rash. It looks like he had a holiday booked. Oh no, I need 4 weeks off. I'm going to Malaga or wherever. That's what it looked like to me.
I can remember. So I'm going back to the FA Cup final of 1990. Andy Gray, one of our midfielders, played in a game and deliberately got himself booked. So he got his suspension in before the cup final. So and he went around kicking anything that moved. And once he got his yellow card, he's like, "Fine, that's it, that's me done." and he could get in the final. But sorry, we're digressing.
Yeah. So, that happens. We get in at halftime, thinking, "How the hell have we still got 11 men?" Halftime happens. Vieira makes a sub, which I'm happy with. He brings on Eze an intent to chase the game, to go for it. Eze drops a stinker. I can't lie to you. Eze drops a stinker, and he has been for a while now. He has been dropping stinkers for a while, and I've said it on our channel for a hot minute now. Everyone's saying, why is he being benched? I said, I know why he's being benched. His off-the-ball work is whack. He's lazy.
Yeah.
Can't pass properly. He passes with too much risk, and there's no reward at all. Like he'll pass it straight to the other team. I think there was a time where he took a touch, turned, and just ran straight into their midfielder.
Oh,
like, you can't run through Caicedo. Who do you think you are? Just lost the ball.
Caicedo, by the way?
Was that Rich?
How good is Caicedo, by the way?
Yeah, he's a baller, brilliant player.
Yeah, he just walked up to him like he's going to run through him, but no. It's just, but then it got worse. Elise, who was probably the only guy that had the best chance of the whole game, could have just lifted it over the keeper. No composure in front of goal. And this season, he's been crap in front of goal. Let's be real. His best goal was a deflection.
Yeah.
Edward, mate, what are you doing? Hit the target from the header.
Oh, he's lazy.
Take a good touch.
Don't even get me started on him. This guy, he had one chance to shine. He missed a sitter as well, and then the fans took the mick and were like, shot on target. I mean, come on, he's just lazy. He doesn't work hard enough, and you can see partially why Vieira didn't play him. You know, when Vieira obviously was managing the team against Brighton, he just doesn't work hard enough. He walks around and stands there like a statue. He's absolutely useless, and you know, it's just you just can't see him getting any better. To be fair, unless someone like Paddy McCarthy or whoever our next new manager is, you know, gets the best out of him. Maybe he does need better coaching, you know, because there was that friction between him and Vieira. But it's just
taking off of Elise. I didn't go to the game, but I heard the boos coming through the TV, and I'm thinking that is so loud.
I know, but Elise was poor.
He was terrible.
I wasn't when I saw Elise go off. I thought I thought it was justified because he was having a shit game. Elise was rubbish.
That Elise has got the potential to create something. Ayew just doesn't. And I think that's where all the frustration was kind of, because you're taking away someone that could do something for us for someone that won't.
Yeah.
And then Ahamada came on, mate, hit the target, man. I know it came to you on like he wasn't ready for it, but hit the target. Even if you scuffed it, at least make the keeper make a save or something. Yeah. That was where you draw the game. That was that dodgy of 90-something minute in a Palace Brighton game where you take your chance and you get a dodgy point. Yeah. But overall, that was embarrassing. There was no passion, no nothing. And I tell you what, Vieira's calm approach, even Derry's screamy, shouty approach, it doesn't work. The players don't give a, you know what, they don't care. And I think it shows. And I've got a funny feeling that in this Arsenal game, where it's the players fending for themselves, because the only people we can blame from now in this game is the players, I reckon we're going to be even worse in this Arsenal game. I wouldn't be surprised if we lose 6-0, and I'm not even exaggerating.
Do you want to tell them?
Yeah, well, I'm not going on Sunday. I can't take it anymore. So Tristan's going to go in the frame. Yeah. So
Tristan will see you there.
Oh yeah, well,
I've had enough of it, to be honest with you. I mean, I can't watch Match of the Day if Palace lose. I only watch Match of the Day if Palace win. So obviously, I'm not really watching Match of the Day.
You can't watch it without Lineker either.
Tell me about it. Oh, the whole thing's a joke.
The thing that gets me, okay, is that the Brighton game, and you know, if you watch Fulham or Brentford or whatever, particularly Brighton, they defend as a team, they attack as a team. When a player's got the ball, they've got options, and so when they're attacking and the bloke's got the ball, they've got options to pass to, and they work. You know, the whole work as a unit. Now, if you look at the chances created, Brighton didn't actually create a great deal. It wasn't like, you know, they were the better team. You could see that. That was obvious.
Miles ahead of us.
You know, and with Palace, we're so disjointed, and the players, it's not like that we are a team. It doesn't feel like the players actually play as an actual football team. You know, they play like a bunch of individuals.
I mean, we're an awful footballing side because of it. You know, there's no determination. There's just like zero sort of chemistry And like you said, a bunch of individuals who are just flipping. It's like they met at a park on a Sunday afternoon and just started playing. Didn't even have a clue what they were doing.
See, part of me blamed Vieira for that.
Shows,
I know people could say, well, he didn't get the money and all the rest of it. Now, whether he didn't get the money and then just threw his toys out of the pram, I don't know. But for me, you know, I was looking at the season because I keep saying the same thing that, you know, someone's come into the club and turned the lights off. And I was saying to Tristan that the game when I thought something wasn't quite right was when we went to Leicester and drew 0-0. And we only had, I think it was like 2 attempts on the target. Yeah. It was an awful game, one of the worst games I've ever seen.
Definitely.
And for me, I'm like thinking that he just wasn't right there. It's like, well, how can you know, we got a point, but it just wasn't right. And then we had the Everton away game, and that's when I thought something's sort of not quite right. And, you know, Parish, I think, should have reacted sooner, to be honest with you.
Definitely. Especially in January as well, when he had the chance to back Vieira and spend money on players rather than on a new stand when they're going to be in the Championship.
But I wonder if even at that point, I wonder if Parish had started to lose faith in him, and that's why he wouldn't give. Well, you know, had any money? I don't know.
Yeah, because there was reports as well that, and I don't know what it is about our club, but everything just comes out. They were saying that Vieira was expecting a new deal at the end of the season, but they wasn't going to give it to him. So it was all falling apart anyway, and such, like the communication and the how should I explain? I don't want Forrester winning. The communication and obviously the camaraderie between Vieira and Parish, that seems to have been falling apart. Yeah. I just don't like the fact that there's just so many leaks. Even apparently that Derry's on gardening leave, he's not actually been sacked.
Wait, what? Wow.
Yeah, there's just rumors about.
Wow. They're just undermining the manager. Anything that he done.
So if that's the case, then Vieira had no chance, because if Vieira wanted him gone and he wasn't actually sacked, then obviously there's going to be a bust up between Vieira and Parish, because it's like, wait, this is what I asked for, and it's not. So that's what I'm saying. Right, look, we're a mess from top to bottom. Parish needs to take accountability as well. He came out. Was he speaking to Gary Cottrell? I believe it was.
I heard about this. What's this stuff? Yeah.
He was just kind of pinning everything on Vieira. Now, I'm not saying Vieira is not at fault, but you didn't back him.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me see if I can find it, and I'll send it to you, Tristan. But
sure. I haven't seen it.
Mess from top to bottom. We are a joke.
No, it is. You know, everything about the club's a mess. I think the admin, the fact we're still sharing a flipping car park with Sainsbury's and everything. You know, our stadium, everything's just. When
we travelled to Brighton, we was on the train with we sat. This woman got on at Three Bridges or somewhere, sat with us. And anyway, she suddenly then realised we were Palace fans, and she was a Brighton fan coming up from. She works in London, so she was going down season ticket holder, and she was saying everything about Brighton. She was saying, you know, she said it's such an amazingly run club. She's got what a chairman who talks to anybody and everybody. Everybody, you know, is at the club and gets focused. Stuff gets done. You know, because I was talking about our power admin, and she said it's top here. She said, you know, you can pick the phone up and whatever. She said it's just really good. And when because we didn't have our tickets, that's the other thing with Palace. We didn't have the tickets. They said they sent them first class post. This was last week, and I phoned up a week ago and I said, what do I do if my ticket doesn't come by Wednesday? The guy said, well, just turn up. They'll they'll print some tickets off for you. So it got to Monday and it still didn't arrive. So I phoned Palace again, and she said, I have to put your names on a list. I said, well, why are they not already on the list? And she said, well, put your names on the list and you just pick your tickets up. And I said, look, if there's Palace fans going to turn up at the game and they don't have a ticket, you're going to have trouble. If they pay for a ticket and they, you know, anyway, we got there, Brighton were great, envelope, there you go, tickets gone, done. And it was just as smooth as you like, you know.
Professional as well.
So, you know, I look at other clubs and, you know, you start to get envious. But, you know, Palace Club is quite unique. And I think that the players that we bring in have got to be, they've got to buy into the Palace way of doing stuff. And the manager that comes in, that's the issue. So I think a manager has got to understand what the club is about and understand the profile of the club. Because at the moment, we've got a bunch of players who don't really, wrong side, you know what I mean?
Play for the badge.
You know, as a Palace fan, you know, I'm just so upset at the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't mind if the players give 100%. That first 15 minutes against Brighton, we need to play like that in every single game for 90 minutes until the end of the season. If we did that, we'd be okay. But I'm not sure the players have got it in them to do that for 90 minutes in a football game.
Yeah.
And because the other thing I think as well, like fitness-wise, I don't think the players are as fit as it can be.
But they're not fully fit. They're not fit to wear the shirt. I mean,
Eze came on the... Run. Hang on, they don't run. What do you mean they're not fit? They don't run enough to not be fit.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. Yeah, definitely.
They you know, we could never ever play like Leeds United. No. I mean, it's just not. And that's what I'm saying. I don't think. And the other thing, a bit critical about Vieira, I don't know whether it was his decision. I'm sure it must have been. He's these youngsters we sent out on loan. You know, I'm sure, you know, having some hungry youngsters in your team could only be a good thing.
I was just seeing this comment from Michael Lewis. He says, all these people that wanted Vieira are now panicking about Roy. Be careful what you wish for. Should have stuck with Patrick Vieira until at least the end of the season and then possibly change. Do you lot agree? I disagree, but
the thing with Vieira, it was done. And I said a couple of weeks ago, it's going to get a point with Patrick Vieira where he's going to be a liability just being at the club. And you know, at the moment, I've had McCarthy in there running it, but then PV because he'd lost it. I mean, if you do something wrong and then you do it again wrong, and then you do it again wrong, and then you do it again wrong, guess what? You're doing something wrong. You know.
What do you make of it, JC and Rich? This comment, especially this point, mainly from Michael Lewis.
I think until Leicester is my opinion. I think see what you can do against a team that is actually winnable game. Because I think if you look at Brighton, clear of us, Brentford, clear of us, City, Newcastle, Man United, Man City, Chelsea, all clear of us. We've played all of them. So that doesn't surprise me that we lost. But the thing that does surprise me is it is a double-edged sword. Because you want him to play against Leicester because that's a game that we need to impose ourselves, a team that Vieira's style would actually work against, someone to attack. But if we lose and then we have to sack him after that because that's just unacceptable and then get someone in. However, if you do it now, they have a whole international break to install their opinions on what they want to do to the team. Whereas if we'd done it after Leicester, they've only got 4 days to do it and to get someone in. So it swings and roundabouts, really. It depends how you want to look at it. But personally, I would have given him until Leicester. If he beats Leicester, he'll keep his job for another game. And if he beats Leeds, then he'll keep his job to the end of the season, in my opinion. Because I only think it's genuinely, I think it's 2 or 3 wins and a couple of draws will keep us up purely because of how tight it is. And at the end of the season, all the teams down there all have to play each other. So the relegation is going to be very low this season. So I don't think you have to
especially with our home games as well, with teams around us and that, you know, like we got Everton at home, West Ham, Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth, Leicester, big games. I mean, we got to basically win all our games at home if we want to stay up. You know, that's like what 5 wins that is. You know, so it's really tight. It's going to be really competitive.
But I don't think 37 points is going to keep over the last 10 seasons. I think it worked out on average. I think it's like 36.5 points keeps you up in the Premiership. Okay. I think it's going to go to 40 points. I think you're going to need at least 40 points to stay up this time. And that's the worry. I mean, we've got to somehow get 5 wins from somewhere.
I'm struggling to see one.
And that's what we're, you know,
dark times.
And I don't know whether it's in the players. I look for leaders on that pitch. You at the club can go onto that pitch and say, right, let's get this done.
Yeah, there's no leaders at all, honestly. We just got someone else who I added a few minutes ago. Max, are you there, Max, at all? Hold on.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, just want to get your thoughts on the Vieira sacking, and you know, who would you like to see replace Patrick Vieira between now and the end of the season? You know, whether it actually is permanent or it could even be a long-term manager for the future in that as well. But it depends, especially if we stay up. What are your thoughts, mate?
Short term, no idea really, but long term, I'd like to see someone like Michael Carrick.
Michael Carrick, yeah.
At Middlesbrough.
I mean, I think he's at Middlesbrough, isn't he now? Carrick, yeah. I mean, that he's a good young manager. I'm not sure. I mean, all his roots are sort of up north. Whether he come down south, I'm not sure. To settle in and that, especially. But he'd be a good ideal manager. Another young manager. He hasn't really got. Well, I'm lying. He hasn't. I mean, a part of me would say he hasn't really got Premiership experience, but he did manage Man United for a couple of games. But I was only for 2 games. It'd be interesting to see what he's like long term as a Premier League manager, or over a period of games, especially as well. How would you say? What would you say to that, Max?
Well, that's why short term I would maybe even just give it to Roy or someone like Sam Allardyce to the end of the year, just to keep us up, and then in the summer you spend big and invest in like a long term manager, like a Vieira, but obviously not him, but someone like him.
Yeah.
How would you think if Roy was to come back? How do you think the players would react to that?
I think it would be mixed feelings from. I think people like Elise, Decore, Lakonga wouldn't like it, whereas people like Ward, Klein, people like Hughes, like the old school type players, wouldn't mind it.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, he'll get some good response from some players. Lower players like Klein, yes, like Zaha, MacArthur. Probably for Zenit Gaita as well, but new players like Anderson, especially like Elise, Edward, I don't know how they would sort of react. I mean, they've never really been managed under him before at Palace or in the past and that as well. So it'd be really interesting to see whether what
Someone's put Forrester one up.
Who is Forrest playing?
They're playing Newcastle.
Newcastle.
Oh, forgot about that game. I didn't realize that game was even on.
Emmanuel Dennis.
Oh God, Dennis. Emmanuel Dennis.
Puts us 13th.
We're not in 12.
Not 12 anymore. I don't know if I should be. No, I mean that's
the thing is though, you look at other results, but they're meaningless. If we don't win games, it's all meaningless. We have to win our games, and then if you win in your own games, you don't have to worry about all the other teams and all the rest of it. So I mean, you are looking over your shoulder, but I mean, it just says they're all playing each other. So not that Newcastle are down there, whatever.
Yeah,
but
So
I'm saying, what do you think? How do you think things are going to pan out at Palace then? I mean, what do you think come the end of the season? I mean, I try and find something optimistic to look at, or something that I don't know whether we just need a bit of luck, get a lucky win, and it just changes it all for us. Could it be that we play Leicester, get 3 points, and then suddenly this millstone's off the players, and they can just start relaxing and playing the football that they can play.
Yeah, you know what it was like when Roy took over us the last time we had a bad run of form, which was Frank de Boer era and such. We had no win, we couldn't buy a goal and stuff. But football's changed a lot in that time. And his defensive style, which worked brilliantly for us, don't get me wrong, our defense ain't the issue. Considering the run-in, we've only conceded twice. Minus the Fulham, the Spurs game, we've only conceded 2 goals in one match once in a match. That was Man United. Every other game has been by a goal.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good point. Yeah,
actually wasn't the issue. So, as much as he's got the experience, and I think that might be the final factor that makes me think, actually, Roy, maybe it's the right person. It's the experience side of it. But I don't remember Roy being attacking or adventurous. So it's like a like for like, minus the experience. So it's difficult. It's such a difficult one. Sam Allardyce, now that I think about it, he did a brilliant job. Like when he came in,
6 years back. Kept us up and everything. Took his 4 million bonus and left. I'm expecting Roy to come in. I'm just seeing it just sounds like it's Roy. It's definitely good. The fact Sky confirmed. Well, not even confirmed it. We're talking about it and bringing it up. It's even on the news channel.
Some people believe it's just media hype. Some say it might be a smoke screen for us to go and talk to someone else behind. I don't know, but either way,
so.
it's so hard to do this. But yeah,
honestly,
I think if it's right. I think if it's right, Roy will only get a contract to the end of the season.
Yeah, with his agent,
I think they'll be quite honest with him. Say, Roy, look, we just need you to the end of the season to keep the club up.
I won't lie. If it is Roy, I won't be surprised if there's some protests.
Oh,
yeah,
I mean, yeah.
Do you think that's going to happen for you and then Max and JC? Do you think there's going to be protests, not just against Roy, but against the board between now and the end of the season, outside the ground? Us doing an Everton, if you know what I mean. Could you see that happening? I mean, I'm not sure right now, but if things get really worse, and it probably will end up reflecting on the board because there's no Vieira to say, "No, Vieira out." It's all going to be on the board. You can't really blame Roy or whoever comes in because they'll only be in the job for like a matter of weeks. It's all going to be towards the Yanks, John Textor and Steve Parish mainly, who just completely mugged us off this season as supporters. What do you make of that?
I think if Roy gets brought in, there could very well be some protesters, definitely.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think there'll be a protest, but I reckon that there'll definitely be. No one's going to be very welcoming in Selhurst. We'll say that. I reckon that there might be, like, how there's the HF are doing a banner for the last game of the season. It wouldn't surprise me if they change the banner from being something good into something to send a message to the board saying, like, you're not doing good. Like how they protested against Newcastle's owners, how they protested against Abramovich.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me if they have a big border or like a big sign showing their discomfort and their dislike for the club and how it's been run. So that stuff like that wouldn't surprise me, but I don't think that people will book a time and go and protest outside the club shop or something like that.
Yeah,
but I think it'll be something in the stadium, and they'll know there's something wrong. But Harris and Blitzer don't care enough, so they won't even know.
Exactly, they're not even there after bloody time. Honestly, you know what I mean. I think they were there the other night, or one of them was there at the Brian game with Parish.
Yeah, he was yamming the Cadbury's. Waste man.
Yeah, I saw something about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really because the other thing as well is obviously this new stand, whether that's taking money away, I don't know.
It has.
But I mean, the worry for me would be as well is that if we were to stay up, then next season we're going to have to do some drastic work during the summer months, some serious work. Because we got to replace guys that have not got a contract or out of contract. You then got to bring in other players on top of that as well. So you can't just replace the players that are out of contract. You got to bring other players in as well. I don't know what the financial pot is for players for next season. I don't know. And of course, I don't think Wilf's not going to be at the club next year. I don't think.
Yeah. What do you make of Wilfred Zaha so far? Ever since he's come back from injury, with his attitude, his play. For all three of you are in this fan call. What do you make of him? He's not really been as sharp as he was at the beginning of the season, especially last season. He got like 15 goals, double figures at his finest. I mean, has he gone backwards? Is he not fully fit? Is it just the age? I mean, he's 30, coming towards the end of his career.
He's lost his legs.
Really
lost his legs, and you look at the City game at home, he spent most of the time complaining.
Well, we did. Trust me.
I know.
Whether some was directed towards Vieira, you could see him with his arms out, kind of what's going on here, sort of thing. Others directed at Ayew because, I don't know, but Ayew passed him the ball and he got angry at him. It was a bit weird.
I know. I honestly think that he's going to go off to Saudi Arabia and get his 9 million. You know what I mean?
I definitely.
I would.
Same here. You'd be stupid to tell.
I would be over there like a shot.
I think if you ask me, I would say they didn't let him fully recover because even when he came back after his injury, his leg was still strapped up. I think his legs are gone. His pace is non-existent anymore. Bloody John Stones is faster than him now, and that's a bit of a violation if you ask me. Especially for him meant to be a pacey, skillful winger. What does he not do anymore? Skills and has no pace. It sounds a bit strange now.
I mean, JC, I was watching him against Man City at home last week in that. And every time he kept on receiving the ball, kept bouncing off him. Every time he did a dribble or something, or he tried running, he kept on slipping over. I mean, talk about your legs being gone. I mean, he's just not. He hasn't got the same sort of ability and caliber about him like he had like last season, like he had 3, 4, 5 years ago when he was in his prime.
I think as players obviously get older, they obviously their pace. You don't, when you get to like 28 and things, you're not going to get any faster.
Yeah,
you're going to get slower, but your brain is still sharp as a footballer. I mean, and there's plenty of players. You look at Benzema, for instance. 35 is still playing a good game of football. So your brain starts to, so with Wilf, he might slow up a bit, but I think he's sort of brain's still there. But I think he still adds something between now and the end of the season. But I just think we've got to, he's get the players playing like they're in a team.
It's for how he plays as well. His game style, he uses short bursts of pace. Like he'll stand up a defender, cut one way and gone, like instant pace. But he just don't have that anymore. He'll cut one way and run straight into someone because they can see it before it happens. He's not fast enough to do it anymore.
Would you give him a 2-year contract to Wilf, or would you say
at the money that they're suggesting at $200,000 a week? Definitely not. I think if it was the same money, I'd think about it. But if it's an increase in wages, I don't think so.
No,
I think that, if anything, I'm actually annoyed that we know he's in his last year of his contract. He's only got, 3 months left of his contract, and we don't have a Zaha replacement. We don't have anyone lined up or even linked with anyone. This just shows that the clubs, as we've been saying, the clubs run terribly. We should have a Zaha replacement 2 years ago, so we could have sold Zaha for money. But
it shows a bit of a lack of ambition.
Is it the fact? Exactly. Is it the fact that as Crystal Palace as a club, we struggle to compete with, so when you get a player come along, every time I see on like gossip on the BBC website, it says, Palace, Brighton, Villa looking at this player. We never get him. The players never come to Palace.
Yeah.
Newcastle scored
1-1. Yeah. That's good for us.
Yeah.
That keeps Forest down there. So.
Eagles, come on, Palace.
Oh god, we're actually hoping for teams to flip.
We're getting more gas for other teams than us.
I think the thing for me,
unbelievable.
I think the thing for me as well is that there just seems to be sort of not much hope at the club. You know what I mean? It's like our hope's been taken away.
Our identity has been taken away from us.
It's so much. It's like it's been the perfect storm. It's that everything's like converged on the club, and then out the lights, switch the lights off. And I'm 61 now. I've been when my first go at Crystal Palace was 1973, and I've known it. I keep telling the youngsters this. I've known it a lot worse than this. I remember going to watch Palace Cardiff on a Friday night with 9,500 people at Sellers Park. Awful stuff. I mean, the football was just like so bad, I couldn't even describe it. So, I've been here before with the club, and as you know, the history of the club, it's it's up and down with Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
But the thing with us, there's always been that spirit at the club. Okay, no matter what the circumstances were, there was always that spirit at the club. And even when I'm worried some season, we might go down, I always thought, you know what, I think we'd probably be okay. But there was always a spirit at the club. And it's just missing at the moment, it's just missing.
It's like all of that's been sucked out of us, and there's just toxicness online, in the stadium. I've never sort of seen it like this bad.
Leaving the ground, watching
when we lost to Sunderland,
having to put up with the Brighton fans rubbing it in last night. I mean, just unbearable.
It all kicked off, didn't it? I mean, one of my mates got pepper sprayed and attacked by a police officer. I mean, that's just it all done.
It got a bit fruity after.
Crazy, honest. That's the worst I've ever seen it. We went there last season; it was pretty mid, but this season, I mean, the Brighton fans were right on the tail.
So, do you think? I mean, with regard to relegation, obviously we're in a relegation battle now, but because the other thing I said. Do you think there's 3 teams in the Premiership that are worse than us?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, actually, yeah.
Look at the table.
You know what? I would say there's even 5 worse than us, and I'm talking about like the duration of the season, how it's been.
Yeah,
but they're starting to pick up points where we're not.
Yeah,
and not just for 1 point, they're picking up wins where they weren't expected to win. You know, so we've got to do the same. We've not had the best of seasons. Within our next 4 or 5 games, so let's scrap the Arsenal game. But after that, it's Southampton.
So it's Arsenal, Leicester, Leeds, Southampton, Everton, Wolves, West Ham.
Yeah. Ooh,
so the 4 after that could be 12 points, and we might be looking at potential safety.
After Arsenal, we only play a top 6 team one more time until the end of the season.
Leicester at home, I think we should. These are all hypotheticals. We should beat them. Leeds away will be tough. I get that. Southampton away, I think we should just about get through that. And then you said Everton at home, right?
Yeah. Their away form's horrible. 1 away win all season.
The home form's very good, but the away form's ropey. So we should 10 to 12 points. We might be all right after that. I mean, there's no guarantee, but that's what I'm saying. That
I think
just got to navigate these games.
Yeah.
You know?
I think you're right in the fact, I wrote Bournemouth off about a month ago, and now look at them. I mean, they go and get 3 points against Liverpool. I mean, it's just total madness.
And they should have got a point at Arsenal too.
They got a good spirit in the team. You can just see the way they play. It's like, well, you're thinking we're going down, but we're going to go down fighting. We're going to be on that pitch. We're going to win as a team. We're going to lose as a team. And I think, sometimes when the players, I see them when they go off sometimes, even when they won, they don't actually go off altogether. You know what I mean? They walk off the pitch on their own, and I keep saying this, you look at the 4-0 win against Everton last season in the Cup, the team, apart from Gallagher, the team is sort of the same, really. There's not much difference.
Yeah.
So I think as far as the players go, I think we've got enough to turn this around. It's not. I know that some people, you'd like the players to come in and strengthen the team. I think we've got the players there to turn it around, but it's whether they want it. To be honest with you, that's what it's going to boil down to. Whoever wants it, who wants it the most will stay up.
Yeah, exactly. Who has the gut?
And if you show a little chink in your armor, you got to. We got to play. All the players have got to realise they've got to play every single game like it's a cup final. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but that's what they've got to do. They've got to play every single game for 90 minutes, not just 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, as and when they feel like it.
Yeah,
they've got to play for 90 minutes. And, even the games that we won, I mean, you look at the Wolves game, we shouldn't have won that game. The Leeds game, we shouldn't have won it.
Yeah.
Southampton game, we shouldn't have won it. And I think there's too much of this. We play for like 10 or 15 minutes well in a football match and just get over the line. Well, perhaps we've been found out.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, I mean, I think, it's just been, compared to the beginning of the season, we were just turning it around and just getting like good results from coming behind and that as well. And then this season, we go a goal down, it's game over. I mean, it's just really just pathetic and it's just depressing. It's like as soon as we go a goal down, it's like it's just like there's no hope for us at all. That's the sad thing. It's probably going to be like that at Arsenal as soon as we go a goal down. It's like when we go a goal down, I should say. That's game over. It's just a sad reality for us.
If we
right
play
now.
Leicester and we win, and we really show some passion, the fans will react tremendously. They really will. They will really react to that, and that is what we need. We need to get back to the way we used to do things.
Exactly. But anyways, my people, that is the end of this video. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and also go and subscribe to Eagle Eye Football. Big up my guys JC and Rich coming on and that as well for the first time on my channel. So yeah, they do Eagle Eye Football, do fan cams, previews, all sorts of incredible content, for Crystal Palace, and yeah, go and check them out and that. And it's been a pleasure having you two on.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the other Palace fans coming on as well. What?
Thanks for your time.
Yeah,
Just
pleasure.
let's just keep our fingers.
And, Tristan, continue the amazing work you're doing, man. Keep it up, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. You too as well, honestly. So see you lot on Sunday as well for the Arsenal game. Be interesting, that one. Yeah, pleasure.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah,
Thanks very much. Take care. Cheers, then. Bye-bye.
Bye.